This is John from Perry County Whitetails, and today we're doing a review and field testing of the KEMIMOTO heated hunting seat. Let's go! First, we're going to show you some footage of us using the seat in the field this past hunting season. Then we're going to bring you back. I'm going to give you my pros and cons to the seat, and then we're going to wrap it up with a couple of final thoughts. So here we go. Field testing of the KEMIMOTO heated hunting seat. Nathan's gonna try it out for us. Let us know when you start feeling warmth, Nate. Well, it's been about, a minute and a half. Starting to feel it on his bottom, but not on his back yet. How's that heated seat working out, Nate? Just okay, huh? Not great. Is your butt warm? Is your back warm? Oh. Okay, so as you can see, we used it this past hunting season, and it's a really very nice seat. I did receive this for free from KEMIMOTO. They sent it to me to be reviewed. So here we go. First of all, I wanted to show you the measurements of this seat. So I am 265 pounds, we'll say. It's a 15-inch wide seat, and it held me wonderfully. 15 inches wide by about 15-inch depth, 14.5-inch depth. And then your back, your actual usable, because this sags down. You see how it's like that, and it goes down like that. But actual cushion space is 16.5 inches tall by 15 inches wide on the back. So it's a nice and wide seat. It does have stabilizer rods in the bottom on each side and on the back. Now these do provide stability to the seat, and they make the seat so it's not just flopping all over the place when you lean up against something, or when you're sitting on uneven ground, like say you got a rock or a root under you. A couple other features: it has this strap on the back. This would go against the tree, and if you want to, you're going to put that around the tree, snap it. You could cinch it up to whatever the diameter of the tree is and get that nice and tight. It does have an elastic keeper for your loose end on your webbing. Now this webbing is, let's measure it here. This is 1.5 inch webbing. So it's nice and wide. Each side has a strap that holds this seat, kind of like a stadium seat would be held. So it does give you some support. Now it's not like sitting on a rigid metal seat, but it will keep the back from collapsing. And of course, these have adjustment, and they also have a buckle on each one that you can remove it. On the back, it has a carry strap you can put over your shoulder. It also has a hook that you can hook it to a belt loop, and it has a Velcro tab that you could hook it to your pack. Now, So it has 3 different attachment methods for you to be able to carry it through the woods, which is nice and convenient. All right, on the bottom portion of the seat, down here, it has a side pocket. Now I should mention that these side straps are sewn into Cordura, which is sewn into the seat. So they're not gonna, I mean, they held me. So, I mean, they're not gonna rip out. They're good and strong. I used it and didn't have any trouble with that. All this tan material is like it's like a tough Cordura, so it's nice. Your battery pack is on the right hand side, right here. Has a KEMIMOTO battery pack and power bank. This can be used to heat the seat. It can also be used to charge your cell phone. It has a USB-C port and a USB port. It has a little screen on the front. You push the button on the side. It shows you how much percentage of battery life you have left. Right now, this battery's at 49%. So this battery pack is really quite nice. Your power cord. You got 2 options here. You can use the USB-C or you can use the DC connection. So I'm not sure why that is. I used it on the DC connection all season and didn't have any trouble whatsoever. So that fits in there nicely, zips shut, stays out of the way. Your power controls are on this side. You hold the center button down, and you can see glowing red. Has 3 settings, and you can set the back and the bottom of the seat independent from each other. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, the warmth in the back of the seat is a lot harder to feel than the warmth coming from the bottom, because oftentimes there's not as much pressure on it, or it's trying to go through more layers of clothing for the heat to actually reach you. But it has a blue setting, that's medium, has a green setting, that's eco, and that's where you're going to get your longest battery life from. And the bottom has the same. You press it and hold it, and you shut it off. I used this all of rifle season here in Pennsylvania. All right, so we're going to go over the pros and the cons. Tilt it up a little bit, Nate. Just a tiny bit. There you go. That's good. So I'm just going to go over the pros and the cons as I see it on this seat. The pros are 3 attachment methods, 3 ways to carry it. Very convenient. You got this strap. You can strap it to a tree, provide a very stable backrest for you. That's not going to slide around. The 1.5-inch webbing is high quality. This isn't junk. The sewn-in Cordura on the top and bottom of each webbing on the side stays, very high quality. These rods actually provide quite a bit of stability. I was surprised. When I first saw it, I thought, you're going to feel that in your butt and in your back, but there wasn't a single time that I felt those rods the whole season. Battery life. This seat pretty much ran the entire first day of rifle season, sitting on the ground. It was left on all day long, and it lasted all day in a ground blind. All right, so for what that's worth, it wasn't a ground blind. Cons. These 2 attachment methods. Now this one, it's fine. It's a clip. You can clip it into your belt loop. I'm going to tell you, as a 265-pound overweight middle-aged man, I could not get that clipped on my belt loop in the back. I couldn't find it. Okay? Number 2, this works fine if you have a molly loop on your pack. If you are not wearing a pack and you're trying to attach this loop would be better served to be turned the other way, so it could thread through a belt loop, which is vertical. Okay, so that's not a big thing, but it's just one of those things. If you don't have a pack that you normally wear and you're just carrying this seat, I would much prefer this tab be turned this way, so that it can thread through my belt loop a lot easier. As it is this way, if you thread this through a belt loop, it's twisted like that, and it's constantly trying to do this as you're walking. Okay, so that was a little bit of a con. Number 2, I mentioned the battery. Great battery life in this. Great battery life. But charge time is unreal. I plugged this in before I went to bed at 10 p.m. At 6 a.m. the next morning, it had only charged up to 38%. Now, I could be doing something wrong. Maybe I'm using the wrong charger. I don't know. But it takes forever to charge this battery. If I'm doing this wrong, if you have experience with these, let me know in the comments what I am doing wrong when I'm charging this battery. But I could not. I used an Android connection that you plugs in the wall, and I used an Apple connection because they don't supply you with a wall plug. They supply a short USB cable that comes with this to charge it, but there's no wall plug. So, I don't know. All right. My final thoughts on this seat. Obviously not designed for use in a ground blind, because if you're sitting down on the ground on this thing, you can't see out of the ground blind, especially on sides, on our ground blind anyway. This seat, it seems, is designed for somebody who just goes out into the woods, plops down on the ground somewhere and hunts. Now, that was me for years and years and years. When I was first starting to hunt, especially in rifle season, I never took a tree stand, I never took a ground blind, I never did any of those things. This is a great option if you don't want to carry a stand, you don't want to carry a blind with you, but this provides enough warmth and enough heat to keep you going through the day so that you don't bail early. We used it on a very cold morning. I think it was 17 degrees. And while it did not feel like we were wearing an electric blanket, it definitely provided enough warmth to get us over the hump throughout the day and keep us in the woods longer. So this seat will keep you in the woods longer. It will extend your hunting time in cold weather particularly. There's nothing that takes the heat out of you quicker than sitting down on the cold ground. I mean, it's bad enough if you're hunting and you're in the cold air, but when you sit down on a cold rock or the cold dirt, it just saps the heat out of you. This here, putting this down under your butt against your back and having that heating pad there, it just extends your hunts so you can stay in the woods longer. So I give this seat a thumbs up. Recommended by the Perry County Whitetails Pro staff, even though it did come from China.